Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. His name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. Because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. There's no straight lines make up my life. All these roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no end. Never sound all my life's a circle, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round, the years keep rolling by.
I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, thought runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle.
Let's go around one more time. You know it now. Because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling. One more time for the kids in the hospital. 2, 3, 4. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling. A lot of harmony, the years keep rolling by, and the years keep on rolling by. Bye, 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 bye. Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. His name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before, I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. There's no straight lines make up my life, all these roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no dead end. That was out all my life's a circle, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round, the years keep rolling by.
I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, all runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle.
Let's go around one more time. You know it now, all my life, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep going. One more time for the kids in the hospital. 2, 3, 4. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life, I can't tell you why. The years keep rolling. A lot of harmony, the years keep rolling by. And the years keep on rolling by. Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. His name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. Because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before, I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. There's no straight lines make up my life, all these roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no end. Help us out, all my life's a circle, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise, sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime, till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round, the years keep rolling by.
I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, all runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle.
Let's go around one more time. You know it now, all my life, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime, till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep going. One more time for the kids in the hospital. 2, 3, 4. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through the nighttime, till the daybreak comes around. All my life, I can't tell you why. The years keep rolling, a lot of harmony, the years keep rolling by, and the years keep on rolling by. Bye, bye, bye,
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stuart Markus. Let me just make sure I'm unmuted here. I think I am. So this is something rather new that we're doing. As some of you might know, for the last 15 years we've done a Harry Chapin tribute show called Just Wild About Harry from the park where Harry Chapin was supposed to play the night that he died back in 1981. We always do it either the Monday before or the Monday after that date. And it always features Long Island musicians, songwriters, and original bands. In essence, we all come together to give the show that he was supposed to. This year, of course, with the COVID pandemic and the shutdown, things have to be a little bit different. So we are doing it live and in some cases by video from our own houses and backyards. This is a show this year that involves a lot of people that have played the show in the past, a few newcomers, and a couple of special out-of-town guests. Now, the idea for doing it online really was born of two people, and I have to give them thanks now because I just can't thank them enough. Frank Walker, who has been my right hand in so many ways in producing the show for so many years. He's probably the biggest Harry Chapin fan of the bunch of us here on Long Island. Also Judith Zweiman, who helped me first conceive the show back in 2004 or so. They both suggested doing it online, and once it started to come together, it really started to come together. We've got the able assistance of our technical director, a guy named Richard Parr, who's been doing the Zoom cast of a number of local open mics, songwriter open mics here on Long Island. And one thing that I knew but didn't quite know until it started to happen is that now it's viewable by people all over the world. And we have people tuning in, people who joined the group, and I could see where they were on the Facebook group, from England, from the Western United States, from New Zealand, a couple from Israel, where it's got to be like 1 o'clock in the morning there now. In New Zealand, I think it's around 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. So this could really be an incredible thing. Now we're going to ask everybody who's watching it, if you have it up on Facebook, go to where it says share under the window where it's happening and click share. It'll say, do you want to start a watch party or something like that? Click yes. That way it'll come out on your own Facebook pages as well, and there's no telling who could stumble across it in their feeds. So we could have thousands of people, maybe thousands of thousands, maybe tens of thousands, across the globe happening upon this show. So I'm going to start things out by introducing a good friend of mine. His name is Michael Kornfeld. He's the president of the Folk Music Society of Huntington, Long Island. Huntington was where Harry lived. He was very involved in the Huntington Art Society, and the Folk Society was very much tied in with him. So I'm going to let Michael Kornfeld say a few words.
Thanks, Stu. As president of the Folk Music Society of Huntington and as a longtime fan of Harry's, dating back to the early 1970s when I first saw him perform in my hometown of Huntington, where he also lived with his family, I'm delighted to have played a role, along with FMSH, in helping to promote these annual tribute concerts to Harry. Founded in the late 1960s, the Folk Music Society of Huntington is a volunteer-run nonprofit organization that usually presents 2 monthly concert series and a monthly folk jam, as well as an annual folk festival each summer in connection with the Huntington Arts Council. In light of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we had to cut our concert series short in March, and the Huntington Folk Festival won't be taking place later this month. We hope to be able to resume our concerts sometime next season. You can find out more about the Folk Music Society of Huntington at our website, fmsh.org. On a personal note, during the 1970s, I saw Harry Chapin many times, in concert, at rallies and marches, and around town. While studying abroad and working in the British House of Commons, I was Harry's guest at what turned out to be his last concerts in London, England, in February 1981. He was in top form, and I had looked forward so much to seeing him again that July 16th in concert at Long Island's Eisenhower Park, where the Just Wild About Harry tribute concerts have taken place, as Stu said, for the past 15 years, on a stage that now bears his name. Although we can't be there tonight, I hope that everyone enjoys this virtual concert as we seek to keep Harry's music alive. Thanks.
All right. Before we start with the first music, I'd like to invite a woman that I've gotten to know very well over the last couple of years to say a few words of spirituality. Harry's spirituality comes through in his lyrics quite a bit, in his love and care for humanity. And I've become very good friends with the rabbi of the Malvern Jewish Center. Her name is Rabbi Susan El-Kadzi. So I invited her to say a few inspirational words as to why we're really doing this.
Thank you, Stuart, and thank you for inviting me. Oh, if a man tried to take his time on earth and prove before he died what one man's life could be worth, I wonder what would happen to this world. These words inscribed on Harry Chapin's tombstone are a reminder that each of us was put on earth for a purpose, to be partners with the divine in making the world a better place, what's called tikkun olam in Hebrew. During his life, Harry supported 82 charities and 33 organizations focused on ending world hunger. His goal was to look at the forces causing world hunger and deal with them, not merely to feed people for the short term. He and Bill Ayers formed World Hunger Year, and Harry convinced President Jimmy Carter to create a hunger commission exploring ways to eliminate world hunger. Rabbi Tafon, 2,000 years ago, said, "It is not up to you to complete the task, but you are not free to desist from starting." This evening is a continuation, nearly 30 years after Harry tragically died, of the work he began. May we who are here this evening be blessed with the resources and ability to contribute to continuing his work. May we prove what each of our lives can be worth, and may his memory continue to be for blessing and inspiration.
Okay, coming back to me now, Rich. So like I said, this is the first time that we've done this, and it's going to be fast and furious. I'd gotten the tech crew at Eisenhower Park pretty well used to it, but Richard Parr is doing this on the fly. If you can bring me back to the spotlight, Rich, I'm going to introduce the first act. Got? Ready? Folk Goddesses will be on video. Next, here we go. Okay, the very first act up is a trio of singer-songwriters named Judith Wyman, Hilary Foxsong, and Martha Trachtenberg. All three were making names for themselves on the Long Island folk scene. Hilary Foxsong is my bandmate in my trio called Gathering Time, and they teamed up when they realized how well they could harmonize together. It happened they were put on a bill at a house concert series locally called the Songbox, and instead of just doing a round robin and taking turns with each other, they decided to back each other up, and a group was born. So, ladies and gentlemen, to sing a song that really, I think, sets the tone and the spirit of the concert, called Remember When the Music. Harry fans will certainly know this song. I'd like to introduce Judith, Martha, and Hilary, the Folk Goddesses.
Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire, and as we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire, for we believed in things, and so we'd sing. Remember when the music brought us all together to stand inside the rain, and as we join our hands, we'd meet in the refrain, for we had dreams to live, we had hopes to give. Remember when the music was the best of what we dreamed of for our children's time, and as we sang we worked, for time was just a line. It was a gift we saved, a gift the future gave. All the times I've listened, and all the times I've heard, all the melodies I'm missing, and all the magic words, and all those potent voices, and the choices we had then. How I'd love to find we had that kind of choice again. Remember when the music was a glow on the horizon of every newborn day, and as we sang the sun came up to chase the dark away, and life was good. We knew we could. Remember when the music brought the night across the valley as the day went down, and as we hummed the melody, we'd be safe inside the sound, and so we'd sleep. We had dreams to keep, and I feel that something's coming, and it's not just in the wind, and it's more than just tomorrow, it's more than where we've been. It offers me promise, and it's telling me again, and I know we're needing something worth believing. Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire, and as we sang the words, it was set our minds on fire, for we believed in things, and so we'd sing, and so we'd say, and so we'd say, and so we'd sing, and so we'd say, and so we'd sing. Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire?
Still getting this. Okay, folk goddesses, Hillary, Judith, and Martha. And we'll be hearing from Hillary and Judith both again later as well. Hillary will be singing with my band, Gathering Time. And Judith has assembled a trio that she's calling Cinderella Toaster version 2.0. And at some point she can explain where that name came from. I don't even remember now. We're going to do first of all, I should mention that this is a benefit for one of the charities that Harry founded. It is that every year. We do it as a food drive when we have it at the park, and over the years we've collected somewhere between 7 and 8 tons of food for Long Islanders who are food insecure. Tonight we don't have any place to put food donations, but we are soliciting donations online. If you go to Long Island Cares, that's licares.org, and look for their donate page, you can do that, and we sure hope you will. We're not making any money off of this. We're doing it to keep Harry's memory and mission alive, and we'll even have at least one of his family members chiming in on us later. I'm going to introduce the first live act now. An old friend of mine. I won't tell you how many years we've been friends, because I don't want to give anything that hints at her age, because as long as she doesn't look it, there's no need for me to tell anybody. She's a folk singer, a songwriter. She specializes in programs that highlight the roles that women play in folk music and how they're portrayed. It's called Images of Women. She also sings all sorts of traditional music. She sings sea shanties with me as a duo called The Royal Yard. And back in her younger days, she did an internship with a woman named Hetty West, who wrote the famous song 500 Miles. If you missed the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. So with all that to her credit, I'd like to introduce my friend and sometime partner and one-time mentor and an excellent banjo player, Robin Greenstein.
Hi, everybody. Greetings from Brooklyn, live. There's a protest march going on right outside the window, so I just shut them. I hope you don't hear it. I'm going to do this song by Harry called Story of a Life. I can see myself, it's a golden sunrise. Young boy, open up your eyes. It's supposed to be your day. Now off you go, horizon bound, and you won't stop until you've found your own kind of way. And the wind will whip your tousled hair, the sun, the rain, the sweet despair. Great tales of love and strife. And somewhere on your path to glory, you will write your story of a life. And all the towns that you walk through, and all you talk to sing you their songs. And there are times you change your stride, there are times you can't decide, still you go on. And then the young girls dance their gypsy tunes and share the secrets of the moon. So soon you find a wife, and though she sees your dreams go poorly, still she shares your story of a life. So you settle down and the children come and you find a place where you come from. Your wandering is done, and all your dreams of open spaces you find in your children's faces, one by one. And all the trips you know you missed, and all the lips you've never kissed cut through you like a knife. Just now you see stretched out before thee just another story of a life. So what do you do now when she looks at you now? You know the same old jokes all the jesters tell, you tell them to her now. And all the same old songs that the minstrels sing, you sing them to her now. But it don't matter anyhow, 'cause she knows by now. So every chance you take don't mean a thing. What variations can you bring to this shop-worn melody? And every year goes by like a tolling bell. It's battered merchandise you sell. Not well, she can see. And though she's heard it all 1,000 times, couched in your attempted rhymes, she'll march to your drum and fife. But the questions that go up before me, where's your magic story of a life? Now sometimes words can serve me well, sometimes words can go to hell for all that they do. And for every dream that took me high, there's been a dream that passed me by. I know it's so true, and I can see clearer to the end, and I'll whisper to her now and again, because she shared my life. For all the ghosts of glory, she makes up the story. Yes, she's the only story of my life.
Beautifully done, Robin Greenstein. And you know, Harry was not known for writing short songs. There are a couple of them, but that definitely was not one of them. He was definitely a wordsmith who enjoyed smithing words together very much, and I knew she could tackle that one. I'm going to introduce another video performance now. This one by Frank Walker, who I mentioned before. Frank has assisted me in more ways than I can say without having to sit down and write things and think about it over the years. Like I said, he's probably the biggest Harry Chapin fan among us. and he's introduced me to a few other Harry Chapin fans as well. Now you'll see a number of video performances in this show. In many cases, there are members of bands who couldn't get together to rehearse or perform because of the shutdown. In some cases, there are people who are out of town doing it together, but they all videotaped themselves playing to each other's tracks or to a click track. And Frank is the one who edited them all together. That's one of the ways he's assisted me over the years, but this year it's been a huge one. So this is a special performance by Frank with someone who the Harry Chapin fans out there will recognize. He's friends with Harry's drummer, Howard Fields, who lives down in Pennsylvania. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce Frank with Howard doing the song I Miss America.
By the time I was 13, started taking shape. At 18 I was so beautiful that the strangers started to gape. I sent into the ultimate contest. If you're as gorgeous as you seem, I said please, 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 be our American dream. But late that night, beneath the grieving moon, there's a dazzling sight in my motel room. Confronting judge with his bulging eyes, I give my all for a sheriff prize. Oh why, oh why, I miss America, crying on TV, silver clad in satin rags, but everything's where it should be. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? After they showed me the game ball, they told me put on weight. They told me I'd be powerful. They told me I'd be great. And my Uncle Sam would coach me. His helmet's on my head. They said, please, 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 when it beat the spread. But the new game plan that the owners had made meant that win or lose, they would feel afraid. For the team become a real gold mine, and the kids sold off for the bottom line. Oh why, oh why, Mr. America, sweating on TV, the winner's joy from the battered boy, but everything's where it should be. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? At last we've come together, call it marriage or civil war. If it brings us to battle, baby, it must be worth our fighting for. Though today came up cloudy, but there will be other days. They said, please, 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 what else is there to say? But in a plywood spread by a plastic street, and a separate bed with a borrowed dream, and with questions quiet and the silence deep, we take 2 pills so at last we'll sleep. Oh why, oh why, Mr. and Mrs. America, our stories on TV. Can you hear cat laughter? For everything's where it should be. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, Well, my little boy, he told me something just the other night. He whispered it as I kissed him before I turned out the light. And of course he said it's simple as only children can. He said, Daddy, 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 please, I'm ready to dream again.
Frank Walker and Howard Fields doing I Miss America. And Frank has been, like I said, besides an incredible help to me throughout the years we've been doing the show, he's been kind of like the utility infielder of the show. He knows pretty much every Harry Chapin song that was ever written. So if anybody needs a backup guitarist, lead guitarist, bass player, harmony singer, Frank is there. So the fact that we're only going to see him in a couple of songs tonight almost doesn't quite seem right. But you will hear him in a couple of songs because he put down guitar tracks for a couple of people that are singing solo also. So you'll get to hear Frank later. Next up is a guy from Oceanside, Long Island. He's been part of the folk scene here and getting out into the wider folk world. He did a semi-formal showcase that got a lot of attention a couple of years ago at the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance Conference. And he's got some of the best hair on the local folk scene that I've ever seen. I know mine can't compare. So doing a video that he shot specially for this show. In fact, all the video performances that you'll see here were specifically done for this show, except for maybe a couple from the Eisenhower Park show that we might run much later if we have time. So please direct your attention now to your screen and a guy named Robinson Treacher doing a song called Empty.
Empty closet, empty heart, empty morning, day won't start. Well, I got no place to go now. I really do not know how to lock my life now that you're gone. Empty mailbox, an empty head, empty promise in an empty bed. Well, I really can't believe it, the thought of you just leaving. But there's no one here, and you must be gone. I guess I took you for granted, I thought of us as one. But now the laugh's on me, 'cause your head for me just took off with the sun. Empty pocket, an empty day, empty feeling won't go away. Well, I never meant to use you, thought of just to abuse you. And there's no one here now that you're gone. I guess I took you for granted, I thought of us as one. But now the laugh's on me, 'cause your hair for me just took off with the sun. Empty closet, empty heart, empty morning, day won't start. Well, I got no place to go now, I really do not know how to like my life now that you're gone. I got an empty closet, I got an empty heart, got an empty icebox, and this day won't stop. I gotta keep on moving, 'cause I'm leaving too. Bye, 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 baby. There's no one left for you. I'm packing my bags, leaving town. Bye, 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 baby. Because you're gone. Thank you. Thank you, Harry.
And we're back. That was Robinson Treacher doing a song he's done before on the big stage called Empty. Next up, a husband and wife couple. And she has been part of the show for a number of years, but her husband is also a musician, but he teaches on Monday nights when we always do the show, so he's never been able to be in the show before. But this year, for the first time, he'll be able to. And they decided to do a very special video for this. They played some of the instruments. Frank Walker played some of the other ones on the instrumental tracks. And they're doing a great song about a couple that's been married for a long time. The two of them just celebrated the 25th wedding anniversary, I think a year, maybe two ago. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Patricia Shee and Stephen Fricker.
There you stand in your dungarees, looking all grown up and so very pleased.
When you write your poems, they have so much to say. When you speak your dreams, it takes my breath away.
You know I want to be a ball player, a regular slugging fool. But both our dreams must wait a while until we finish school.
And so you and I will watch our years go by. We'll watch our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then, till our time just drifts away.
There you stand in your wedding dress. You're so beautiful that I must confess, I'm so proud you have chosen me, when a doctor is what you want to be.
You know I want to be a painter, dear, a real artistic snob. But I guess we'll have our children first. You stay at home, I'll get a job. And so you and I will watch our years go by. We'll watch our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then, till our time just drifts away. Listen to the seasons passing, listen to the wind blow.
Listen to the children laughing.
Where do broken dreams go? There you stand in your tailored suit, so many years gone by, but you're still so cute. You take the car to go and meet the bus when our grandson comes to visit us.
You say you should have been a ballerina, babe. There are songs I should have sung, but And I guess our dreams have come and gone. You gotta dream when you are young.
And so you and I, we've watched our years go by. We've watched our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then, till our time just drifts away. We've watched our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then, till our time just drifts away. You and I, we've watched our years go by. We've watched our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then, till our time just drifts away.
Patricia She and Stephen Fricker, and I should have added, very important, Patricia She is a songwriter. She was an acolyte of Pete Seeger, actually, and took part in some shows with him. And there's a train going by in my backyard, you might be hearing that. But lately Patricia has been discovering or rediscovering some of her other talents as well. And she made a film last year called Undocumented. It traces the journey, her bit of her family history. Her father was one of all of 50 people from China allowed in when the Chinese Exclusion Act, which had been passed in the 1890s, was finally modified to allow a few people in. He was one of the lucky ones, so the policy on immigration has been one of great concern to her. She made a film called Undocumented about an illegal immigrant who came to America and became a doctor and has saved a number of lives with some of the techniques that he pioneered. So her film Undocumented has been shown at a number of festivals and won some awards, so we want to acknowledge that. Patricia She. Coming up next, a woman that I've been friends with for, again, more years than either one of us would like to admit. She was going to play live, but she fell just last week and injured her hand and didn't think she'd be able to take part. Once again, Frank Walker came to the rescue. He said, "I got you covered. Let me put down some tracks for you." So with Frank playing guitar behind her, please welcome a singer-songwriter with 2 albums out to her name, Deborah Lynn.
I'm a tangled up puppet, spinning round in knots, and the more I see of what used to be, the less of you I've got. There was a time that you'd curl up in my lap like a child. You'd cling to me smiling, your eyes wide and wild. Now you slip through my arms, wave a passing hello, twist away and toss a kiss, laughing as you go. You used to say, read me a story and sing me songs of love, for you were Princess Paradise on the wings of a dove. Now I chase you and tease you, trying to remake you my own. But you just turn away and say, please leave me alone. And I'm a tangled up puppet, all hanging in your strings. I'm a butterfly in a spider's web, fluttering my wings. And the more that I keep dancing and spinning round in knots, the more I see of what used to be, and the less of you I've got. You are a drawer full of makeup and rinses and things. You keep changing your moods like your earrings and rings. But tonight while we play tag for 5 minutes in the yard, but just for a moment I caught you off guard. And I'm a tangled up puppet, all hanging in your strings. I'm a butterfly in a spider's web, fluttering my wings. And the more that I keep dancing and spinning round in knots, the more I see of what used to be, and the less of you I've got. But for now you write your secret poems in a room just for your dreams. You don't find time to talk to me about the things you mean. What I mean is, I have watched you take shape from a jumble of parts and find the grace and form of a fine work of art. Hey you, my brand new woman, newly come into your own. Don't you know that you don't need to grow up all alone?
Deborah Lynn, once again. Deborah is one of several acts that have taken part over the years that includes family members. She has a daughter named Melanie, who goes by the stage name Mel Funk. Melanie tours with a band called Jackknife Stiletto, an all-female hard rock band. And I don't know where Melanie is. She might have gotten stuck somewhere on tour. Hopefully she made it home when the big shutdown happened. But it was great to hear Deborah. We thought we weren't going to be able to keep her in for the show this year. But once again, thanks to Frank for capturing that. Next up, two young people. And it always does my heart good when we get people into the show that weren't even alive during Harry's life. It's hard to believe that it's been 39 years this summer since Harry passed away. But when I give some young people a chance and they get to explore his music, they often find a song that just registers, lodges in their brain, and they make it their own. And there are two new people coming into the show this year. Both of them are too young to have known Harry. The first is named Brian Gallo. He's in his 30s. He's currently working on a new recording that he hopes to have released soon. Like so many of us, we haven't been able to get into the studios because of the shutdown. But it will be available through briangallo.com. That's Brian with a Y, Bryangallo. So he's been working on it since the start of last year, and it's about 75-80% done, and I can relate. My band was in the same situation until just recently. So we'll look for him. He teamed up with another songwriter from the East End of Long Island who's much younger, in her 20s, but a talent that has made a lot of heads turn on the folk scene here. Her name is Anne O'Rourke, and I'm looking forward to hearing the both of them together. They played a show for the Folk Music Society of Huntington together last year, and even though it was more of a back and forth, I thought they might team up well, and they did. So please welcome a video that they did themselves specifically for the show, Brian Gallo and Anne O'Rourke.
Much better than the truth.
hear somebody crying. I can't just wonder who it could be. I hear somebody crying now. Sure sounds like America to me.
Brian Gallo and Ann O'Rourke doing a really, really nice job on Sounds Like America to me. And Harry didn't shy away from political songs any more than he shied away from socially conscious ones, and sometimes they go together. And that was a beautiful job on that song. I'm so glad they picked it. Just a little bit of a reminder again here. If you're watching on the internet, on Facebook, please take a minute, if you can afford it, to go to licares.org. That's Long Island Care's website. If you can donate something, it would be great. We always do this as a food drive and fundraiser for the charity. We can't do food collections at the moment, but the need has really increased. I did a little bit of temp work in their warehouse a couple of months ago, and you wouldn't believe the number of pallets that go out every day to local food kitchens, food pantries for people on Long Island here. The other thing is, if you are watching this on Facebook and you care to, click where it says share under the window, and it'll go out on your own Facebook feed, and anybody who's friends with you could stumble upon it and maybe get involved watching. We've got well over 300 people watching on the initial feed now, and I'm not sure how many other people have been sharing it, but who knows how many people could see the show, so it's really quite a phenomenon. I'd like to introduce a group now that's been with the show almost from the beginning. They first played in the second year. They are a hard rock folk punk band, I guess would be the best way to describe them. Led by a guy named Eddie Havoc, who I've been friends with for over 20 years. He doesn't care if I tell you. The band sort of takes the social consciousness of Woody Guthrie and blends it with the dulcet tones of, say, the Ramones or Metallica. They've taken a song, and I encourage the performers in this show to take the song and make it their own. You know, play it as if they wrote it, however they hear it, and it's led to some really beautiful interpretations. This next one you're going to hear is probably the loudest interpretation of the show tonight, but it's great. This is a video they made specifically for the show tonight. Please welcome Eddie Havoc and the band Media Crime doing the always pertinent song, The Rock.
Stop, man, I'm to his mother, fit on.
brother said, he was deaf. Forget about that crazy fool. It started into Lord, high woman, from the way you did it. Give me a little
Oh man, I love that. Media crime, ladies and gentlemen. And in case you were wondering, that instrument that their keyboardist Chris Peters is playing is called a theremin. It's one of the earliest electronic instruments, invented in the 1950s or early 60s or so. That's the instrument that's played in the Beach Boys song Good Vibrations, that goes ooh. One of the very rare musical instruments that one does not have to touch to play it. So used to great effect there. We're going to take just a very short break from the music right now and introduce a guy that I've become friends with, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me to have the Chapin family's endorsement on this, and I've become friendly with Jennifer, his daughter, who's a touring singer-songwriter as well, Tom, Harry's brother, and Sandy, Harry's wife. Some people know that there is a movie, actually I was going to say a movie in the works, but the movie has been completed. It was supposed to debut a month and a half ago in its theatrical release, but of course everything was put on hold. But it has been picked up by a distributor, a documentary on Harry's life, the same distribution company that did the movie about Linda Ronstadt and some other prominent musical documentaries. And there's some other things in the works as well. So to talk about that, I'd like to welcome Jason Chapin.
Hi, Stuart. It's great to be with all of you, and it was great to be there last year, but I'm really enjoying tonight's show from my home, and knowing that there are people in their home participating tonight and people all over the country and around the world, which is fantastic. So I just wanted to say a few words on behalf of my family, how incredibly excited we are that this event happens each year and gets better and better each year. And we're incredibly thankful to everybody involved, the performers, the organizers, those who attend, and everyone else behind the scenes. Tremendous job. So just a few words. Since we last got together a year ago, there was an oral history that was put out by Ira Cantor on vintagerock.com called The Story of Harry Chapin. And another project since last year is Michael Taylor's book. It's Harry Chapin, The Music Behind the Man. And we really love those two publications. And more recently, we've been working really hard and having great success with a documentary about my father called When in Doubt, Do Something. And I'm very excited to share with you that, as Stuart mentioned, we have a distribution deal with Greenwich Entertainment. They're a fabulous company, and they were behind, as Stuart mentioned, Linda Ronstadt's documentary, but also Echo in the Canyon, which was a very successful movie. And so this is a great fit for us, a great pairing. And I'm happy to announce that there's going to be a docu-concert that's coming out a week before the film. That's going to be on October 9th. A lot of performers and a lot of great music. And then the following week on World Food Day is going to be the release of the film, October 16th. And if that's not enough for Harry Chapin fans, there are two other projects I want to briefly mention. One we were hoping was going to be launched on Off-Broadway this fall in New York City, a musical about my father. That's pushed off to next year. Very excited about that. And also a book by Pat Fenton, and it's called Searching for Harry Chapin's America. And he tells stories about the places that the songs are based on. And that's coming out next year. So lots of great stuff. And And if you want any more information about what's out there are great fan sites on Facebook with lots of information, as well as harrychapinmusic.com. But I don't want to talk anymore. I want to go back to listening to the great music. Again, on behalf of my entire family, thank you very much for being there for so many years and supporting all the projects and all the organizations. Long Island Cares, because of the tremendous corporate and individual donations, they're helping more people than ever before, 40% more than they usually do. The Harry Chapin Foundation recently had a meeting. We dedicated all of our grants to organizations that are helping people who are food insecure. And World Hunger Year is working harder than ever, helping more people than ever, connecting more organizations than ever. Couldn't happen without all the support, and we really need it today more than ever. My father would be extremely proud of all that's going on, and I would like to believe that he's watching from above with a big smile, and thank you again. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jason. It means a lot to have you and your family on the show, in on the show, I should say, attending it and saying a few words live. And very interesting that you mentioned that it might be that Harry's watching down from above. Just about every year I get some sort of sign that he is, and I might have mentioned this to you. There have been so many years where the weather prediction has been bad. It's been cloudy, they've been predicting rain, and then just miraculously, an hour and a half before showtime, the clouds part and it becomes a sunny day. One year, about 8 years ago, I think, we had a really bad storm on the way. In fact, the tech crew, the technical director from the park came up to me and said, looks like there's a storm coming right up the East Coast here. It's going to slam into us in about an hour and a quarter. Do you want to just start the show early, play through intermission, and get as much in as we can? I said, okay, let's do that. So we started early, about 10 minutes early, and just slammed straight through, no intermission, and we got the whole show in. And I asked him afterwards what happened to that rainstorm that was on its way, and he said it was the weirdest thing. It was coming up the coast, all of a sudden it just made a hard right and headed east. And about 5-10 minutes after that, it did finally start raining. That's happened so often that I just can't believe it's just a coincidence. So last year, the weather forecast was great, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. So there was, no supernatural fix that needed to be thrown in. But midway through the show, the most gorgeous sunset started taking place over the stage. I couldn't see it because I was under the overhang, but somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, go and take a look. And a couple of friends of mine got great photographs of that sunset, one of which is the cover photo for the page for this Facebook group. So that just, to me, that says maybe he is up there looking down at all of us and happy to see it. I think you mentioned that your father really would have loved it. Tom, he came to the second year we did the show, and I said, what do you think? And he said, Harry would have loved this. So I think Harry did appreciate the recognition that he was getting in the music community, the songwriter community, and of course from the public, and we're certainly very glad to be carrying on that tradition. I'm going to introduce another good friend of mine. She's a fantastic musician. Her name is Christine Solomino, and she's a songwriter. She sort of specializes in sacred music, but does all styles. She's done a number of songs. She's a great piano player, and her specialty style seems to sort of be like the torch song, and she's taken several of Harry's great songs and turned them into just that. She plays guitar and she plays piano, and she could have played live, but she wanted to play both, so through the magic of video, she did. Doing Song for Myself, please welcome my friend Christine Solomino.
It's a song for myself, just a song for myself. You don't have to listen to it, it's just a song for myself. Since I fell in love with you, it brought some things to mind. If we're gonna raise
family, we have to think about the future times. Do I believe that the answer is still blowing in the wind? Do I believe that there are good times rolling just around the bend? Do I believe that with a little more love now all our troubles end? And here I am trying to believe in myself and be a little good to my family and my friends. It's just a thought in my mind, just a thought in my mind. You don't have to think it too, it's just a thought in my mind. There were so many protest songs written in the 1960s. Are we gonna listen to this moldy pop gold, barely hearing lyrics or melodies? I wanna believe that the answer is still blowing in the wind. I wanna believe that there are good times rolling just around the bend. I wanna believe that with a little more love now all our troubles end. And here I am trying to believe in myself and be a little good to my family and my friends. Be good to one another. Just do what you can now. It's gotta start somewhere. Oh, it's just a song for myself. I sing a song for myself. Oh, you don't have to sing along. It's just a song for myself. Maybe each generation should have something more to say. Are we gonna sit here with superficial smiles and watch the world fade away? Help me believe that the answer is still blowing in the wind. Let us believe that there are good times rolling just around the bend. Wanna believe that with a little more love now all our troubles end. And here I am trying to believe in myself and be a little good, being good to my family and my friends. Be good to one another. Just do what you can now. It's gotta start somewhere over the rainbow. Why can't I?
Christine Solomino. One thing about Christine is she loves Judy Garland. She's the biggest Judy Garland fan I know personally, and she always manages to slip somewhere over the rainbow in at the end of whatever song she's doing in the Chapin show. Great performance, Christine. Absolutely love it. We're going to introduce a family team now. This is a song that means a lot to me. My mom is a retired teacher. She was the most called upon substitute teacher in our school district for a long time. Before I was born, she was a full-time teacher. And she was very good at controlling her class without squashing the kids. And there are some really good teachers like that, but as you know, there are some who aren't like that, and sometimes all it takes is the wrong person to kind of squash us and tell, hey, don't be creative when we're at an impressionable age, and it'll stifle a person's creativity for years to come, if not forever. So this is a very important song. Harry wrote it after one of his kids brought home a report card that said Your son marches to the tune of a different drummer, but don't worry, we'll have him playing with the band soon. And that wasn't something that Harry liked reading very much. So we're welcoming in a woman who's new to the show. Her name is Jessica Upham, and her son Bobby doing the song Flowers Are Red.
Little boy went first day of school. He got some crayons and he started to draw. He put colors all over the paper, for colors was what he saw. The teacher said, "What you doing, young man?"
"I'm painting flowers,"
he said. She said, "It's not the time for art, young man. And anyway, flowers are green and red. There's a time for everything, young man, and a way it should be done. You've got to show concern for everyone else, for you're not the only one." And she said, "Flowers are red, young man. Green leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen." But the little boy said,
"There's so many colors in the rainbow. There's so many colors in the morning sun. There's so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone."
The teacher said, "You're sassy. There's ways that things should be. And you'll paint flowers the way they are, so repeat after me." And she said, "Flowers are red, young man. Green leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen." But the little boy said again,
"There's so many colors in the rainbow. There's so many colors in the morning sun. There's so many colors in the flower, and I see everyone."
The teacher put him in a corner and said, "It's for your own good. And you won't come out till you get it right, and responding like you should." Well, finally he got lonely. Frightened thoughts had filled his head, and he went up to the teacher, and this is what he said. And he said,
"Flowers are red. Green leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen."
Time went by like it always does, and they moved to another town. The little boy went to another school, and this is what he found. The teacher there was smiling. She said, "Painting should be fun, and there are so many colors in the flower, so let's use everyone." But that little boy painted flowers in neat rows of green and red. When the teacher asked him why, this is what he said. And he said,
"Flowers are red. Green leaves are green. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen."
But oh, if there was still some way to have our children say,
"There's so many colors in the rainbow. There's so many colors in the morning sun. There's so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone."
did really good. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Jessica and Bobby Upham Great rendition of that song, and that's a lesson really that we need to teach all of our kids. I read an article a few years ago that America seems to be undergoing a creativity deficit in school. They're just not teaching the art of creativity, and it's not just when it comes to arts and artistry, but sometimes creative thinking is the way to solve problems of any sort, whether they're in business or technology or science. So it's an important thing, but a lot of Harry's songs made important points, so great job, Jessica and Bobby. We've got up next Karen Bella. She's going to be playing live, and she's been up and coming on the scene. I've known her for about 5 years. Like so many of us, she's a singer and songwriter, and also plays the local pubs and restaurants, and she is just great. I actually did a gig with her just last night, not too far away from her at a lovely beach bar. She released her first EP, a 6-song pressing called Karen Bella. She was able to get her CD release concert in about 2 days before the great shutdown happened. It was at Rockwood Music Hall. She packed the room, so it was a great show. Please welcome my friend, Karen Bella.
Saturday morning, and it's growing light. I look out my window, remember the night. The story started, the story ends, and I feel like I need you again. Time used to move softly when I was at home. You went on without me and left me alone. Now it sits at my shoulder and claws at my hand, and I feel like I need you again. A song needs a reason and rhyme. Love needs a little more time. Now I recall September when the leaves turn brown. Remember October, the leaves on the ground. Well, here comes December like an elderly friend, and I feel like I need you again. A song needs a reason and rhyme. Love needs a little more time. A song needs a reason and rhyme. Love needs a little more
Karen Bella, ladies and gentlemen. Great job on that song. She's done that a few years in a row at the live show in the park, and hopefully for many years to come. Up next is a band who had a memorable typo in Newsday, the Long Island local newspaper. Apparently, Newsday has an auto-correction program more sophisticated than most, and it thought their name was a typo. They are called Grand Folk Railroad. obviously punning on the 70s group, but Newsday actually said that Grand Funk Railroad was playing in the Harry Chapin tribute show a few years ago, which would have been really cool, except they're not from Long Island, so I couldn't have them in the show. Not that they knew about it anyways. I don't know if they're even touring right now. But a great band coming up, a husband and wife team, Susan and Mike, who could have played live, but they have a guitarist who's not part of the family. So they decided to videotape us something also. But again, they took full advantage of the video editing capabilities of Frank, who you met before, Frank Walker. And they each play multiple instruments, so you'll see them switching back and forth between them in the video. Please welcome one of Harry's iconic songs, WOLD, Grand Folk Railroad.
Hello, honey, it's me. What did you think when you heard me back on the radio? And what did the kids say when they heard it was their long-lost daddy? Oh, remember when we listened to the radio and I said that's the place to be? And how I got a job as an FM jock on the day you married me. Well, it was 2 kids and I was into AM rock, but I just had to run around. It's been 8 years since I left you, babe. Let me tell you about what's gone down. I am the morning DJ at WOLD, playing all the hits for you, wherever you may be. The bright good morning voice who's heard but never seen, feeling all the 45, going on 15. The drinking I did at my last big gig, well, it made my voice go low. They said they wanted a younger sound when they let me go. So I drifted on down to Tulsa, Oklahoma to do me a late night talk show. Now I made my way back home again here to Boise, Idaho. That's how this business goes. I am the morning DJ at WOLD, playing all the hits for you, wherever you may be. The bright good morning voice who's heard but never seen, feeling all of 45, going on 15. I'm making extra money playing high school sock hops. I'm the big time guest MC. You should hear me talking to the little children and listen what they say to me. Got a thought on the top of my head, just begging for a new toupee. Well, there's a tire around my gut from sitting on my butt, but it's never gonna go away. Sometimes I get this crazy dream that I just take off in my car. But you can travel on 10,000 miles and still stay where you are. Thinking that I should stop this jocking and start that record store. Maybe I could settle down if you take me back once more. Okay, honey, I see. I guess he's better than me. Sure, old girl, I understand. You don't have to worry, I'm such a happy man. WOLD, DJ at WOLD. Playing all the hits for you, wherever you may be. The bright good morning voice who's heard but never seen. Feeling all the 45, going on 50. I am the morning DJ at WOL.
All right, and there's the implication, the reminder to please donate to licares.org tonight if you're enjoying this show. I'm certainly having an awful lot of fun doing it. There it is once again. Coming up next, by the way, again, the man editing so many of these videos is Frank Walker. We'll be seeing him again in a little while. Another person I want to thank has been our official photographer since the very beginning of the show. His name is Robert Berkowitz, and he's here on the Zoom chat with all of us. If you tuned in at the very beginning or before the beginning, a little before 7, all those photographs were ones that he had taken of the show throughout the years. And it's funny, I was going back and looking at them. It was Judith Zweiman, who's coming up next, that put together the photo montage and collected so many of them. There were so many to select from. It's sort of funny. Every year it comes up, and I have to give thanks again to the people at the Nassau County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Museums for allowing us to do this show every year. Every year it draws about 2,000 people to Eisenhower Park, where Harry was supposed to play the night he died. And a couple of years ago, a Nassau County legislator whose late husband was part of the tech crew that night, she comes and, because of her personal connection, introduces the show. She started referring to it as a cherished tradition, and it really has been. That made my heart feel good. But I'm looking through all these photos, and there are people that I'd forgotten they'd been in the show. Some of them are back musicians, some of them did it one year and then and had enough for whatever reason. But it's just been a wonderful thing going on. So if anybody wants to make a trip to Long Island, or people who live on Long Island but hadn't seen the show before, I'm sure we'll be doing it next year. Even a chance that we'll be doing it later this summer here live at the park. Last year we had a guy fly in from Scotland, not just for the show, but he'd been wanting to take a vacation to see New York and Philadelphia, and he scheduled his vacation around when the show was going to be. That's how big a Harry Chapin fan he was. So next up, a combo put together by Judith Zweiman, who is one of the people that helped me conceptualize the show at the very beginning, the very first year that we did it. And she put together a group several times. There's this one song that she particularly gravitated to. It's called I Wonder What Would Happen. And again, here's an instance where someone took my admonishment to make the song their own, and really did. It was originally a gospel or spiritual style song the way Harry did it. She took it and made a rock and roll number, which isn't bad for a folkie. So playing with her tonight via video is Rory Kelly, who's been a huge booster of independent and original music on the island, and certainly a big booster of female singer-songwriters on the island. And again, Christine Solomino, who you saw a little while ago, put together by Judith Zweiman, who helped organize this show, this particular show in a lot of ways, calling themselves Cinderella Toaster version 2.0, and she can explain it if she wants, doing the song I Wonder What Would Happen.
Well, I wonder, yes, I wonder, what would happen
happen? What would happen to this world? Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Yes, I wonder. Yes, I wonder. Yes, I wonder. What would happen? Yes, I wonder. What would happen to this world? I wonder what would happen to this world. Now if a man tried to use his time on earth and prove before he died what one man's life could be worth, I wonder what would happen to this world.
And if a woman, she used a lifetime and something more than some men serve for a lifetime,
I wonder what would happen to this world.
Oh, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes, I wonder.
What happened
Yes,
to this
I wonder.
world?
I wonder what would happen to this world. As I look around me, there are strange things. There's muggers and there's drunkards. We are led by clowns. If the answer ever found us, would it change things? Or are we just the people running ready for the crowd? Oh, we see them marching down. Do we join the parade? Do we try to sit down? I wonder what would happen to this world.
Oh, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes, I wonder. I wonder what would happen to this world. As I look around me, there are strange things. There's muggers and there's jugglers. We are led back loud. Is the answer ever found us? Will it change things? Or are we just the people running ready for the crowd?
If our people took their time on earth to prove before we died what one life could be worth, I wonder what would happen to this world.
Well, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen
Yes,
to this
I
world?
wonder.
I wonder what would happen to this world.
Well, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes, I wonder.
What would happen?
Yes,
to
I
the
wonder.
world?
I wonder what would happen.
I said I
to
wonder
this
what would happen to this world.
All right, next up, we will have a band, a guy who I knew from Long Island. In fact, he helped me record and produce my, I think both of my original CDs before I hooked up with Gathering Time. Some years ago, he moved up to Massachusetts, I think close to the Maine border, if I'm correct. But he's still continuing to make music. He has a band called Foundry. But he formed a duo while he was up there a few years ago with this young lady you'll see to his left, named Susan Levine. His name is Doug Kortler, by the way, and boy, he's got a bunch of albums out with his former band Foundry. He had one before that called The Wheel, I think. Gosh, I think I met him how many years ago? I'm not sure I want to say, but at an open mic that I used to run at a coffee house not too far from me here on Long Island. So the Lied Twos have 2 albums out. They're working on their 3rd, which I think they don't have the excuse of not being able to record due to the pandemic because Doug has his own recording rig and lives with Susan. But they're working on it. It should be out sometime spring of next year. Their website is lied2music.com. Doug's studio is called Hollow Body Studios, by the way. And do you still have that mobile recording rig where you can come out to people and record them? Okay. So a lot of interesting stuff going on by Doug Kortler, who with Susan Levine are the Lied Twos. Take it away, guys. Playing live.
Thanks so much, Stu. It's great to be back here, and it's great to be back playing with my partner Susan Levine. And hopefully next year I'll be back in person, or we'll be back in person. That'll be great. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times. I've heard that cold hard truth so many times before. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times. I don't wanna hear them old heartbreaking sad songs anymore. Don't you listen to my lyrics, no, they won't make much sense. And if they rhyme every other line, it's only coincidence. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times. I've heard that cold hard truth so many times before. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times. I don't wanna hear them old heartbreaking sad songs anymore. I help you with your burden. I help you lug your load. Skip up a smile each and every mile as you're skipping down the road. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times. I've heard that cold hard truth so many times before. Stop singing these sad songs. Just tell me about the good times, baby, 'cause I don't wanna hear them old heartbreaking sad songs anymore. 'Cause I don't wanna hear them old heartbreaking sad songs anymore. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
Long Island-based folk rock harmony trio Gathering Time has drawn the attention of folk fans with a sound reminiscent of musical luminaries such as the Byrds, Peter, Paul and Mary, and Crosby, Stills and Nash. However, the trio's head-turning harmonies and instrumental acumen on both originals and choice covers broaden its appeal to a wider audience that includes many who never considered themselves to be folkies. Gathering Time songs have been widely played on folk radio, its last 3 albums having made the top 5 on the monthly folk radio airplay charts that are now compiled by Folk Alliance International. Its most recent release, Keepsake, was the #1 album and featured the month's most played song on folk radio during March 2016. Gathering Time's new album, Old Friends, a collection of classic folk rock songs from the 60s and 70s, is slated for release on September 1st. But right now, Stuart Markus, Hilary Foxsong, and Jerry McKevney join us to perform Harry Chapin's first radio hit, Taxi. Two.
It was raining hard in Frisco. I needed one more fan to make my night. The lady up ahead waved to flag me down. She got in at the light.
Oh, where you going to, my lady blue? It's a shame you ruined your gown in the rain. She just looked out the window and said 16 Parkside Lane.
Something about her was familiar. I could swear I'd seen her face before. She said, I'm sure you're mistaken. And she didn't say anything more.
Took a while, but she looked in the mirror. Then she glanced at the lights and smiled my name. The smile seemed to come to her slowly. A sad smile just the same.
And she said, how are you, Harry? I said, how are you, Sue? Through the too many miles and the too little smiles, I still remember you.
Somewhere in a fairy tale, I used to take her home in my car. Learned about love at the back of a Dodge. Seemed the lesson hadn't gone too far.
You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the footlights. I took off to find the sky. Oh, I've got something inside me to drive the princess blind. There's a wild man wizard, he's hiding in me, illuminating my mind. Something inside me, not what my life's about. 'Cause I've been letting my outside tide be over till my time runs out.
So I turned my cab into the driveway, past the gates and the fine trim lawn.
And she said, we must get together, though I knew it'd never be arranged. And she gave me $20 for the $2.50 fare. She said, Harry, keep the change. Well, another man might have been angry,
And she walked away in silence. It's strange how you never know. We both got what we asked for such a long time ago.
You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the footlights, I took off through the sky.
Here she's acting happy, inside her handsome home. We climb a taxi, taking tips, getting stoned.
I go flying so high when I'm stoned.
Thank you very much. Thank you to my friends Hillary and Jerry. By the way, Joiah dances up in a little bit, and he'll be singing with us, backing him up. He's running the technical end from here. But first, before I mute me, Joe, it gives me great pleasure to introduce somebody that Gathering Time as a unit has been working with for about a decade. She has had 2 #1 albums on the folk radio chart. Her last one was in 2014 and took the #1 album, #1 song, and #1 artist honors for the month that it was released. And I'm very proud that Gathering Time is on about 5 of those tracks. I think she had 7 in the top 25 altogether. And just about a year ago, a little bit over, she released another album called Facets of Folk. And once again, took the top artist, top song, and top album honors on Folk DJ list. Please welcome our friend. I played guitar for her on this one, so you'll see me up there again by videotape, elegantly stitched together by Frank Walker. Please welcome Mara Levine. Woo!
Sandy is the seashore, and sandy is the sea. Sandy is a clear blue sky, or so it seems to me. Yes, I see her everywhere, in everything I see. She can turn to anything that she would like to be. Sandy is a summer's day, she laughs inside the brook. Sandy is an autumn moon, she shines down when I look. Sandy is a cozy fire on a snowy winter's night. And Sandy is the soft spring rain in the early morning light. Sandy is my mirror, there are secrets in her eyes. And every single morning she dons a new disguise. She is called the mystery of all that's I see the world in her, for she means the world to me.
All right, Mara Levine, that was beautiful, and you saw a shot of Sandy Chapin there. Up until just a few years ago, she still lived in the house that they had shared in Huntington. She just moved upstate a little while ago. So we're a little bit hectic here. We have our friend Joe Iadanza, who just returned to making music about a year ago after taking a little time off. We were very proud to have sung on Joe's first album called Traveling Salesman. And it just occurred to us, we invited him to come play live because we've backed him up in the live show in the past. And all of a sudden realized, wait, he can't sing into the same mic as any of us for safety reasons. So I ran into the house, grabbed another one, and we plugged it in. The very able technical crew made up of Joe himself and my bandmate Jerry got the song going. But this is Harry's big, there's Jerry.
There's Jerry. Heather, you can move over so you can see yourself.
Harry's biggest hit that we all have the pleasure of singing with him on. This, of course, a song that Tom Chapin likes to say scares the heck out of fathers around the world to this day, 45 years after it was released or more. Playing the song Cats in the Cradle, our friend Joe Iadanza.
Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, my child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch, bills to pay. He'd learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking before I knew it. And as he grew, he said, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Yeah, you know we'll have a good time then. Well, my son turned 10 just the other day. Said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? Said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. He said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Yeah, you know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. You sit for a while. He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Yeah, you know we'll have a good time then. son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, the new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, and I don't know when, but we'll get together then, yeah. You know we'll have a good time then. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon, yeah. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, yeah. You know we'll have a good time then. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you, Gathering Time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joe and his hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay, Joe. Yay, Gathering Time. Hi, everybody. Coming up next is a friend of mine I've known for a long time, coming out of Maryland. He's been a performer for about 30 years and has known the Chapin family for a long time, has performed with them several times. So joining him is his daughter, Lily. Please welcome Scott Sivikoff and Lily, singing Shooting Star.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
This is my daughter, Lily.
Hi.
I just want to thank Stuart and Frank and everybody for putting this together. This is something I've wanted to participate in for many, many years, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to now. It's really nice to be able to share an event like this with people who love playing these kinds of songs just like I do. So, thank you. He was crazy, of course. From the first, she must have known it. But still, she went on with him, and she never once had shown it. And she took him off the street, and she dried his tears of grieving. She listened to his visions, she believed in his believing. Ah, he was the sun burning bright and brittle, and she was the moon shining back his light a little. He was a shooting star, she was softer and more slowly. Could not make things possible, but she could make them holy, holy. He was dancing to some music no one else had ever heard. And speaking unknown languages, she would translate every word. And then while the world was laughing at his castles in the sky, she'd hold him in her body till he once again could fly. Ah, he was the sun burning bright and brittle, and she was the moon shining back his light a little. He was a shooting star, she was softer and more slowly. Could not make things possible, but she could make them holy, holy. She gave him a daughter, and she gave him a son. She was a mother and a wife and a lover when the day was done. He was too far gone What he offered and it said was the knowledge she was the only thing that was not in his head, in his head. He took off east one morning towards the rising sun's red glow. She knew he was going nowhere, so of course she let him go. And as she stood and watched him dwindle, much too empty to be sad, he reappeared beside her, saying, "You are all I've ever had." Oh, he was the sun burning bright and brittle, and she was the moon shining back his light a little. He was a shooting star, she was softer and more slowly. Could not make things possible, but she could make them holy. Holy. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lily.
Scott Sivikoff, ladies and gentlemen, and his daughter Lily. A great song that I've heard Harry wrote that about his own parents, but it certainly turned out to be, sadly, very much prophetic about him also. I remember we did that live at a very theatrical singer named Thera Marshall played that like the second year that we did it at Eisenhower Park. Next up, someone that became my friend through this show. She's been a longtime friend of Frank Walker's and has just an amazing voice. And she just knocks it out of the park with this show. Things had kind of gotten her down a little bit in the world. She thought she wasn't going to do it, but Frank Walker convinced her to do it. He played his guitar part onto videotape, sent it over to her, and she decided she wanted to be a part of it after all. And I'm so glad that she did, because she's become such a very, very good friend as well. Please welcome to the virtual stage Robin Eve doing a song called A Better Place to Be.
Was an early morning ballroom, and the place just opened up. Little man came in so fast and started at his cups. And the broad who served the whiskey, she was a big old friendly girl who tried to fight her empty nights by smiling at the world. And she said, "Hey bub, it's been a while since you've been around. Where the hell you been hiding? Why you look so down?" But the little man just sat there like he'd never heard a sound. Waitress, she gave out a cough, and acting not the least put off, she spoke. Once again, she said, "I don't want to bother you, consider it understood. I know I'm not no beauty queen, but I sure can listen good." And the little man took a drink in his hand and he raised it to his lips. He took a couple of sips and he told the waitress this story. "I am the midnight watchman down at Miller's Tool and Die, and I watch the metal rusting and I watch the time go by. week ago at the diner, I stopped to get a bite. And this here lovely lady, she sat 2 seats from my right. Lord, 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 she was alright. See, she was so damn beautiful, she could warm a winter's frost. And she was long past lonely and well nigh on to lost. Now I'm not much of a mover or a pick-em-up easy guy, so I decided to glide on over and give her one good try. So Lord, 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 she was worth a try. I was tongue-tied like a schoolboy, stammered out some words. But it did not seem to matter much, 'cause I don't think she heard. She just looked clear on through me to a space back in my head, chained me into silence as quietly she said, "You want me to come with you? Well, that's alright with me. I know I'm going nowhere. Anywhere's a better place to be." Drove her to my boarding house and I took her up to my room. I went to turn on the only light to brighten up the gloom, but she said, "Please leave the light on. Oh, I don't mind the dark." As her clothes all tumbled around her, I could hear my heart. Light shone upon her as she lay back in my bed. It was the kind of scene I only had imagined in my head. Just could not believe it, to think that she was real. As I tried to tell her, she said, "Know just how you feel. If you want to come here with me, that's alright with me. 'Cause I've been oh so lonely. Loving someone is a better way to be." Morning came so swiftly while I held her in my arms, and she slept like a baby, snug and safe from harm. Did not want to share her with the world or break the mood, so before she woke I went out, got us both some food. I came back with my paper bag to find that she was gone. She'd left a 6-word letter saying it's time that I moved on. So the waitress took her bar rag and she wiped it across her eyes. And as she spoke, her voice came out as something like a sigh. She said, "I wish that I were beautiful, or that you were halfway blind. I wish I weren't so goddamn fat, and I wish that you were mine. And I wish that you'd come with me when I leave for home. 'Cause we both know all about emptiness, living all alone." And the little man, looked at the empty glass in his hand, and he smiled a crooked grin. He said, I guess I'm out of gin, and I know we both have been so lonely. And if you want me to come with you, that's alright with me. 'Cause I know I'm going nowhere, and anywhere's a better place to be.
Guess you're on, Frank.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Frank Walker. Once again, that's the man. You might have seen him before, but Frank has been the one who put the videos together for most of the acts that did it on video, and knows more Harry Chapin songs than any other 5 people put together that I know. And I'm going to bring him in to introduce a friend of his. So go ahead, Frank.
Well, thank you. First of all, Scott Sivikoff way beats me at knowing many Chapin songs. I don't know any of them compared to what he knows. So just for the record. The next song is going to be sung by Jason Colanino, who is coming to us originally from New Jersey, but now living in Florida. And he has been a professional musician for over 30 years, been a Chapin fan for just as long. And if we have the picture, we have a picture of Jason with Harry Chapin from 1976. If we have that, I'd love to show that if we can. And if not, no problem. But he's going to do a song called Mail Order Annie. And here is Jason Colanino.
Thanks, Frank. Very eloquently said. Thanks for inviting me to be part of this. I really appreciate it. Chapin fans are everywhere. At first, I did not think it could be you, but you're the only one that got off the train. So you must be my wife, Miss Annie Halsey. Yes, yes, I must be your husband. Hello, I'm Harry Crane. Mail order Annie, never mind your crying. Your tears are sweet rain in my empty life. Mail order Annie, can't you see I'm trying to tell you that I'm glad you're here. You are the woman who's come to be my wife. You know you're not as pretty as I dreamed you'd be, but then I'm not no handsome fancy Dan. But out here looks are really not important. No, no, it's what's inside a woman when she's up against the land. Mail order Annie, never mind your crying. Your tears are sweet rain in my empty life. Mail order Annie, can't you see I'm trying to tell you that I'm glad you're here. You are the woman who's come to be my wife. You know it's not no easy life you're entering. The winter wind comes whistling through the cracks there in the sod. You know you'll never have too many neighbors. There's you, babe, and there's me, and there's God. I am just a dirt man from the North Dakota plains. You're one girl from the city who's been thrown out on her own. And I'm standing here not sure of what to say to you, except in mail order Annie, let's you and me go home. Mail order Annie, never mind your crying. Your tears are sweet rain in my empty life. Mail order Annie, can't you see I'm trying to tell you that I'm glad you're here. You are the woman who's come to be my wife.
All right, Jason Colanino that was. And one of the things we've had a chance to do, first of all, people can perform here not just from Long Island, but from all over the country. And the fact that we don't have to adhere to the park's 2-hour limit means that we can go later than the 2 hours that the show usually does, which means we can invite some out-of-town friends. The ethos of the show is always that it would be Long Islanders playing Harry Chapin's songs, but as long as we can open it up a little bit, we thought we would. So hence two very, very big Harry Chapin fans from distant states, Scott Sivikov earlier and Jason Colanino just now. And we've got one more like that coming up by video. But I'm going to let Frank, who knows him better, introduce him also. Take it away, Frank Walker.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't ready for that. Yes, John McMenamin's coming up next. He also knows the Chapin family very well. He's performed with them many times, as I believe he's going to tell you. And he's going to do a song called Corey's Coming. So here is John McMenamin.
Hi, I'm John McMenamin. The first time I saw Harry Chapin was when he and his band played a concert in November 1976 at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I became a lifelong fan that night, and the band played this song that night, and it's been one of my favorite songs ever since. It's called Corey's Coming. Old John Joseph was a man with 2 first names. They left him in the railroad yard when they took away the trains. And only one run a week comes on roaring down that line. So all he's got to worry about is time. He sits in the break house, his hands out to the fire, moving through his memories of love and desire, telling me the stories of the glories of his past, but he always saves the story of his Corey for the last. And he says, my Corey's coming, No more sad stories coming. My midnight moonlight morning glory's coming on you, girl. And like I told you, when she holds you, she enfolds you in her world. I'd come by in the evening, find out where he'd been, and he'd say, come on, sit down, kid, where shall I begin? And I'd say, you know my favorites, though you know I like the rest, but I love the way you tell me of your Corey the best. And so I'd hear his lifelong love recreated by his tongue. He'd turn back the years, she'd seem forever young. And though the other stories changed as they rolled through his head, he'd say the same words about Corey just before he went to bed. And then he'd send me away, but he'd be smiling as he said, can't you see my Corey's coming? No more sad stories coming. My midnight moonlight morning glory's coming on, girl. And like I told you, when she holds you, she enfolds you in her world. Well, I was quite surprised to find out all the places that he knew. So I asked the townsfolk if his stories were true. They said old John was born here, he's lived here all his life. He's never had a woman, let alone a wife. And very soon you'll find out, as you check around, that no one named Corey's ever lived in this town. So I chided the old man about the truth that I had heard. He smiled and said reality is only just a word. Can't you see my Corey's coming? No more sad stories coming. My midnight moonlight morning glory's coming on you, girl. And like I told you, when she holds you, she enfolds you in her world. I came by one evening, but he did not hear my shout. I looked in the window and I saw the fire was out. When he would not wake up, I forced in the door, and I found that old John Joseph would tell stories no more. There was a scene at the graveyard, just 3 of us were there. There was me and the grave digger, and we heard the parson's prayer. He said we need not grieve for this man, for we know that God cares. They put the cold dirt over him and left me on my own. When at last I looked up, I saw I was not alone. Standing there in silence with a shawl around her head was a beautiful young woman. I remember what she said. Is that John Joseph there? I nodded my head, yes. That brought a soft smile from her. She said it's time he got some rest. So I said, if you're a relative, he had a peaceful end. That's when she said, my name is Corey. You could say I'm just a friend. Corey's coming. No more sad stories coming. My midnight moonlight morning glories coming at you, girl. Listen, like I told you, when she holds you, She enfolds you in her world. Well, that's the old man's story. I'm glad you came tonight. You see, a busted down old railroad yard sure makes a lonely sight. You may wonder why a young man would work out here alone. Well, the job pays enough to keep some flesh on my bones. And I confess I get to missing the old man a bit. Yes, there's one other reason I guess I could admit. Can't you see my Corey's coming? No more sad stories coming. My midnight moonlight morning glory's coming, not you, girl. Yes, and like he told me, when she holds me, she enfolds me in her world. Thanks, Harry. And remember, when in doubt.
John McMenamin, once again, ladies and gentlemen, another great out-of-town professional Harry fan, professional musician and Harry fan, I should say. I have to give a shout-out, once again, to our technical director, Richard Parr, who's been doing this from somewhere else in Ireland. But this has been remarkably glitch-free for such a complicated show as this. Now, I didn't plan it this way, but I just noticed those last three songs are properly called ballads. In the folk world, a ballad means a song that tells a story. A lot of times you hear the term ballad meaning a love song, but it really means a song that tells a story, and Harry crafted great stories. In fact, his greatest album, as some of you know, is called His Greatest Stories Live. And sometimes it would just take a little kernel of truth or a little bit of inspiration for him to craft an amazing story on that. So really nice job by John McMenamin. We've got one more out-of-town friend who, it's funny, this is somebody that I know through the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance conferences. We see each other, hang out, talk a bit there, then lose touch except for the occasional shout on Facebook or something like that. But when I started putting this Facebook group page together, she jumped onto it and mentioned that she really liked Harry too, and I said, hey Jackie, you want to do a song? So she decided to do this one, and this one is a little bit different from the ones you just heard. Her name, the song is called The Road to Kingdom Come, and performing it live is Jackie Damsky.
Hi, am I on there?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for inviting me, Stuart. This isn't such an honor. And I did live in Oceanside for a little while, so an ordinary Long Islander as well. All right, here we go, on the road to Kingdom Come. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. The smoke which says wahoo, and the wise man says me too, and the guru says wazoo, so do what you do. The priest stands in their pulpits, the pope sits on his throne, the parishes are empty, and the choir boys on their own, until the second coming. Yes, they're leaving us alone, and God in his heaven has decided to keep mum, 'cause he's just another traveler on the road to kingdom come. When all is said and done, he's just another one. Oh, pity Mr. President, he can't do a thing. He says everywhere he went, we tried to make him sing. Our lonely White House resident says we should have made him saved us from the truth we're hiding from. But we're just another traveler on the road to kingdom come. When all is said and done, he was just another one. Oh, the general's in his game room, but his soldier won't salute. Ever since he was promoted, no, he can't pop his chute. His strength says he's paranoid about communistic roots. So unfurl your flag, boys, start beating his drum. Got to get another traveler on the road to kingdom come. When all is said and done, he's just another one. Yes, another one. And the smoke says wahoo, and the wise man says me too, and the guru says wazoo. So do what you do. Woo! The lead singer's raucous as he screams out the truth, and the band holds a caucus and decides to sell their youth. And our manager, he'll hawk us just as long as we're uncouth, and we'll call it a revolution, but we'll crank out bubble gum, 'cause that's the marching tune for travelers on the road to kingdom come. We're just another one, yes, another one. Grandpa swung into the orgy, it was his last hope. He came dressed to the nines in deodorant and scope. Oh, they found him a woman, she brought Vaseline and soap. And it started out exciting, but it ended up ho-hum. She said, I thought that you could take me all the way to kingdom come. When all is said and done, you were just another one, Grandpa. So Billy sells hot sermons and cold wars by the mails, while Mr. Big is selling out, his business never fails. And King Kennedy, like Chaucer's, chasing Canterbury tales. And though my brain is still a virgin, well, the rest of me is well done. Don't you know we're all just travelers on the road to kingdom come? We're just another one. Yes, another one. Yes, another one. And the smoke witch says wahoo, and the wise man says me too, and the guru says wazoo. So do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do.
From somewhere hiding out upstate New York, Jackie Damsky.
Nah, that's close enough.
Yeah, a great fiddle player, by the way. That's what she's really known for around the Northeast Regional Folk Conference. But a good solo performer too. She's the type of person that can just jump in on like any song with a fiddle part, even if it was a song that you never thought would have a fiddle part. She can do it. In fact, my band Gathering Time sometimes does the song Tanglewood Tree by Dave Carter. And we were chatting the other day, and she mentioned, "Hey, do you know that song?" I'm like, "Yeah, we recorded it." And she's like, "Next time you play it, I'll play fiddle." So you're on, Jackie. Next time. It's a great job on Road to Kingdom Come. Over the this would have been the 16th year that we've been doing this show. There have been a lot of memorable moments. We're gonna play you, since we've got a little bit of extra time. We've got a couple of videos of great moments from past shows. We're going to do one that's particularly special. Frank, who you met before, Frank Walker. And if you hear a train going by, that's the train from Quarry's coming, running through my backyard. By the way, we've had a few dogs in the show too. I don't know if you noticed. You might have heard a little bit of yelping. That's my housemate Allison's dog, Cora. And we also had Christine Solomino's dog, Crooner, in on it. And somebody else had a dog that made an appearance too. I forget who it was. Anyways, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago now, Frank Walker actually proposed to his girlfriend on stage just 4 years ago. He's giving me the high sign. 4 years. Wow, time flies. 4 years ago. It was a surprise to her. We told her that we were going to give Frank an award for all his help in putting on the show. And he sang a beautiful song called I Could Fall in Love. And we gave her this plaque that was wrapped up. And after the song, we handed it to her and said, bring it out. And I walked out with her. And, well, you'll see what happens. So, Richard, if you could roll that tape, please.
We have a present for you.
Please welcome Frank's girlfriend, Tammy Pendergast.
Tammy, I am in love with you. Will you please marry me? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my fiancée, Tammy Pendergast. John Stuart, everybody. Robin.
And if you thought Frank looked a little bit uncharacteristically nervous before the song started, now you know why. Now that was a first here in the 12 years we've been doing this. Congratulations, Frank and Tammy. Thank you so much, Robin and John. We got one more.
And what a great moment that was. We've got time for a couple of videos of some moments from past shows. One guy that was in the show every year until he moved to South Carolina is a guy named Josh Chapin. And he did one of Harry's songs that's most special to me. You know, all of us who play on the local scene, know what it's like to be coming up. And some people will tell you that you're great, and some people just want to heckle you and say worse things to you. And like in Flowers I Read, sometimes the wrong words or instructions from the wrong person can just squash a person, especially if they're trying to make a living in the arts. So Josh used to do a song called Mr. Tanner every year in the show. I used to get to sing with him, and I was asking if he could do the show on a live stream from South Carolina, but he didn't want to do it just by himself without somebody singing Mr. Tanner's parts. But as long as we get time, we got a video here that we'll do. So Richard, if you can bring up the video of Josh Chapin and me doing Mr. Tanner. I know this is a song that resonates with every musician that's ever played that stage.
friends and neighbors praised the voice that poured out from his throat. They said that he should use his gifts instead of cleaning coats. Music was his life, it was not his livelihood. And it made him feel so happy, and it made him feel so good. He sang from his heart, and he sang from his soul. Did not know how well he sang, it just made him whole. Kept working on him to take music up full time. A great debut and rave reviews, a huge career to climb. Yes, and finally they got to him. He would take the fling. And a concert agent in New York agreed to have him sing. There were plane tickets, phone calls, money spent to rent the hall. It took most of his savings, but he gladly used them all. Music was his life, it was not his livelihood. Though it made him feel so happy, and it made him feel so good. He sang from his heart, and he sang from his soul. Did not know how well he sang, it just made him whole. And the evening came, he took the stage, his face set in a smile. In the half-filled hall, the critics sat halfway up the aisle. And the concert was a blur to him, with spatters of applause. Did not know how well he sang, he only heard the flaws. And the critics were concise, it only took 4 lines, and no one could accuse them of being overkind.
Town hall debut last night. He came well prepared, but unfortunately his presentation was not up to contemporary professional standards. His voice lacks the range of tonal color necessary to make it consistently interesting.
Full-time consideration of another endeavor might be in order. Smiled, just said nothing, and never sang again. Excepting very late at night, when his store was dark and closed. He sang softly to himself as he sorted through the clothes.
Markus.
Oh man, I just love that song. By the way, Mom and Dad, if you're still watching, thanks for the voice lessons back in high school. I think we got time for one more video of a special guest. He was supposed to be part of the show, but ended up getting a paid gig for tonight. Fortunately, we found a video clip of him. His name is Sid Cherry. He's a Long Islander, sometimes lives in Manhattan. Here's a great version of him doing the song Old College Avenue. Can we roll that one, please, Rich? That was Sid Cherry doing Circle from a few years ago. Now, as I've mentioned before, we always do this as a benefit, a food drive for Long Island Cares, which is the local food bank charity that Harry founded. Long Island is one of the wealthiest areas in the country, but it's also one of the areas with the greatest wealth disparities in the country. And, well, America like America, which is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but also has the greatest amount of wealth disparities. And so Harry was just offended by the thought that people in America should be going hungry. And I find it inconceivable that on Long Island people are going hungry. So this is a fundraiser for Long Island Cares. And we'd like to roll a public service announcement that Long Island Cares put together after the pandemic broke out. And a lot of people, like me, a lot of musicians, a lot of waiters and waitresses, and other people in the service economy just found themselves out of work. So if you could please roll that, Rich, and then we'll get to the final.
I'm Paul Pachter, CEO of Long Island Cares and the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank. The COVID-19 pandemic, stay-at-home directives, and the unprecedented loss of jobs has led to a dramatic increase in the number of people turning to the food bank and our network of member agency pantries for food assistance. Long Island Cares is well positioned to meet the demand for emergency food during COVID-19 for the weeks and months to come. As stay-at-home guidelines are relaxed and people begin to go out, Long Island Cares and our pantries are going to be here to provide you with emergency food, personal care products, household supplies, and even pet food. We're in this response together, and moving forward, we're going to be delivering food smarter and safer, because in good times and in bad times, Long Island cares.
All right, so we've come to the end of the show. Wow, we filled up just about an even 3 hours of it. And a big thank you again to Richard Power, who is our technical director. He stepped in just a week and a half ago when the guy we had lined up had a little family thing come up. And he's done a great job. It's been remarkably glitch-free. There are so many people that help out in other ways. One of them I should have mentioned before. She's in on the chat room here. Her name is Mara Levine. You heard her sing before. She is from New Jersey, and according to the conventional rules of the show, it's only for Long Islanders to play. I want to prioritize them, but she comes out every year for the last 3 or 4 years to be a stage mom. The show involves as many musicians as you saw here today, easily 24, and she's one of the people in charge of corralling them and making sure that they're ready to go as their turn is coming up, making sure they're tuned and they have their patch cords. And I wanted to mention, by the way, I mentioned her albums, her recent albums that did so well, but she was just signed to a Nashville, Tennessee label called Bell Buckle Records, and I wanted to acknowledge that. We're all really, really proud of her. And Gathering Time is looking forward to working with her again in the future. We do shows together. Once again, the photo montage that you probably saw at the beginning and will probably see at the end was by Robert Berkowitz. That's look for him on Flickr at RSB Imageworks. That's Robert S. Berkowitz. He's come every year and shot the show and archived it. We always end the show, as Harry ended most of his, with the song Circle. And usually that means getting everybody up on stage, opening every mic channel, and having everybody sing in the audience sing along. A few of us got together and videotaped parts of it and sent them over to Frank, who stitched it together. And once again, thanks to Frank Walker, who did so much work to help this all come together. Judith Zwyman, who goes back to the very beginning of the show, also helped out an awful lot. Richard Parr, our technical director, everybody had a hand in it. Let's roll Circle to end it all, and then maybe we'll go back to that photo montage. And once again, everybody who's watching this on Facebook, if you would, share it or start a watch party. I discovered this evening that if you start a watch party, it rewinds it to the beginning, and anybody can tune in and watch it again. And let's see how many people we can turn on to the music of Harry Chapin 39 years after he stopped playing them. Ready, Rich? Let's go.
All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. The season's spinning round again, the years keep rolling by.
Seems like I've been here before, I can't remember when, but I get this crazy feeling same. But still we lose each other, just like some children's game. But as I find you here again, the thought runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle, let's go round one more time. 'Cause all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, years keep rolling by. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon goes through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. The seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Keep on rolling by.
Well, that was great fun. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you. The one time I forgot to unmute myself. So there you have it, everybody. This was an awful lot of fun. We filled up 3 hours. Hopefully did some good in the world. We're going to leave this archived on the Facebook page, on the group page that you have before you there, Just Wild About Harry, the Harry Chapin tribute. And that will become the page, the main page, where we have all announcements about future shows. There's still a chance that we might get the go-ahead to do the show outdoors at the park later on this summer. If that does, we'll post it there. Anybody that's local, we hope you'll come out. And as we continue to do these, hopefully we'll have enough advance notice that if people want to come out of town and be a part of this, that would be great too. Once again, thanks to everybody that helped put this together, and it was a lot of people.
Thank you, Stuart. Great job. Great job.
Robert Berkowitz.
Yay!
And everybody, if you could, if you haven't yet, once we get the archive page, which Richard, as the host of it, will be doing, please share it to your own Facebook pages. People can tune in and watch it anytime. We had an average of over 300 people watching it just on the primary feed. I don't know how many dozens or hundreds of others might have been watching as people shared it or started watch parties.
How many did it show on the primary page?
Primary page is anywhere between 315 and 350.
That's great.
It went down towards the end there. Let's roll the video montage, or the photo montage once again, and say goodnight, everybody. Been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. What a gift.
Great.
Bye.
Everybody did
Awesome.
fantastic. Good night, everybody.
Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. And his name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. Because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. years keep rolling by. I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, all runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle. Let's go around one more time. You know it now all my life, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through. The moon rolls through the night time. Till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again. The years keep on. One more time for the kids in the hospital. 2, 3, 4. All my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the night time. Till the daybreak comes around. All my life, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again. The years keep rolling. A lot of harmony. The years keep rolling by, and the years keep on rolling by. Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. And his name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. Because all my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the night time. Till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again. The years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. There's no straight lines make up my life. All these roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no end. That was out all my life's a circle, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the night time. Till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round, the years keep rolling by. I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, Before we go out with a blaze of glory in the Chapin tradition, there's one person without whom this whole thing wouldn't have happened. His name is Charlie Sanders. He's worked for 2 years for this to happen. I want to give a good hand for Charlie. Because all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Well, it seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again and again. There's no straight lines make up my life. All these roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no end. Help us out, all my life's a circle, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round, years keep rolling by.
I've still found you 1,000 times. I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, all runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle.
Let's go around one more time. You know it now, all my life, because all my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through, the moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle. I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep going. One more time for the kids in the hospital. 2, 3, 4. All my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life, I can't tell you why. The years keep rolling. A lot of harmony, the years keep rolling by. And the years keep on rolling by. Bye, bye, bye,
My grandfather was a painter. He died at age 88. He illustrated Robert Frost's first 2 books of poetry. And he was looking at me and he said, "Harry, there's 2 kinds of tired. There's good tired and there's bad tired." He said, ironically enough, bad tired can be a day that you won. But you won other people's battles. You lived other people's days, other people's agendas, other people's dreams. And when it was all over, there was very little you in there. And when you hit the hay at night, somehow you toss and turn. You don't settle easy. He said, good tired, ironically enough, can be a day that you lost. But you don't even have to tell yourself, because you knew you fought your battles, you chased your dreams, you lived your days. And when you hit the hay at night, you settle easy. You sleep to sleep with the just, and you can say, take me away. He said, Harry, all my life I've wanted to be a painter, and I've painted. God, I would have loved to have been more successful. But I've painted, and I am good tired, and they can take me away. Now, there is a process in your and my lives, in the insecurity that we have about a prior life or an afterlife. God, I hope there is a God. If he does exist, he's got a rather weird sense of humor, however. But if there's a process that will allow us to live our days, that will allow us that degree of equanimity towards the end, looking at that black, implacable wall of death, that will allow us that degree of peace, that degree of non-fear, I want in.